I usually ask this question whenever I go take a presentation in a company or an organization, wherever. The first question that I usually ask people is, do you take a bath every day? The answer is, yes. Otherwise, the answer, some cases may be a no also. Alright, so the thing is, I usually ask people this question because it's very important to know what do they think of the physical hygiene. Physical hygiene is not the real issue. Of course, it's very important. Based upon this, you can do anything else, right? Physical hygiene being accomplished, then comes next what? Next is what level of hygiene? Mental. Which includes, by the way? Which includes what other things? Emotional hygiene, thank you. Energetic hygiene, right? Let's divide into three parts. The first is obviously physical hygiene. Second is called etheric or energetic hygiene. The physical body has a corresponding so-called aura, which is populated by the contents in the chakra. Imagine chakras like gateways. If the gateways have a red ink flowing through them, everything flowing in and out would be colored red, right? Is an example of that. Imagine red is anger as an example, right? If the solar plexus chakra here has an energy of anger stuck inside of it, and then going in and out of it would be colored. And hence your organs, which are liver, pancreas, some part of spleen, intestines, kidneys, gallbladder, adrenals, and the diaphragm would be thickly colored with it. Which is why when you get angry, the diaphragm erratically moves, causing the breathing to become very shallow. It's emotion becoming physiological, right? Somatophysical, not the other way around, right? All right. So this is one of the examples. Also, we all know that most of the long-standing problems have known issues in emotions, roots in emotions, right? But most of you know about it, so we're not talking about it. We talk about the concept of hygiene, by the way, today. There is the next body, which I told you was the etheric body. The one which comes afterward is called emotional body, kama kosha, right? Then comes the mental body, manomaya kosha. Now the thing is, when we talk about hygiene from a standpoint of keeping things clean, we also mean not just clean, but substantially, regularly upgraded. For example, a good physical body is not a person like this. No. It is usually a person who is fit, strong, powerful, and maybe if the person is of relatively younger age, continues to become stronger, fitter, more powerful with time. Whatever the body allows, right? Yeah. The first impression of a very good, strong person is the physical appearance. It's obvious, right? The first impression from a distance is physical appearance. Clothing, this, that also add on to it, but they're like thing. But the stature and the way the person walks, moves around is a very, very solid impression. Then comes the energy. To those of you who have ability of clairvoyance, who can see beyond the physical world, can actually see the energy almost live and clear as we see the physical body. There are ways to develop clairvoyance also, by the way. So, coming to the point, when you talk about energy hygiene, you basically are saying keeping the chakras very, very clean. That keeps your aura very clean. Why do you want to keep the aura clean, by the way? Any thoughts from your side? Why should you even bother cleaning the aura? Added question, does it automatically get cleaned sometime or the other? It's a logical question. Logical question. Why should you bother cleaning it?
Grounding, when you take bath, I think
Taking a bath to some degree cleans it off. Yeah, to some degree, of course, yes.
grounding being in nature.
No, but why should you bother cleaning it?
To attract more good energy.
To attract more? Or more positive energy. That's a very good idea. What else?
Good health.
Doesn't the health stay good of people who don't clean it also? Many people in the West don't even care about it. Health is good. Why should you bother cleaning it? Why should you bother keeping it hygienic? The energy body.
To be happy.
That is good to be happy, actually. That is true, but it's true at another level. Let's for a moment go to emotional hygiene for just a short while. We'll come back to this again. All of us here agree without a second thought that we need emotional hygiene. Are we on the same page without even asking? Like, no why and stuff, right? Whenever there is a problem of two people, there is a ruckus in emotions. All ruckus. The problem is too much emotion gets generated and it goes nowhere. It stays right here. Starts to accumulate, right? Of course, I mean, this is without a question, right? Starts to accumulate. Unless we really cleanse and purify the emotional body, it will stay stuck. Not just stuck, it will start to do worse things afterwards. Emotional hygiene is almost as crucial to be really joyful, internally calm, happy, joyful. That's the secret which comes from maintaining a pure emotional hygiene. We'll talk about the techniques also, by the way. Go to mental hygiene. By the way, emotional hygiene also gives you a benefit that once you're emotionally hygienic, you have a solid shot at staying clear in conversations, in arguments. The clarity becomes you. Because the emotional body doesn't disturb, or the emotions don't disturb the clear thinking flow of the mind. Even though you may be knowing, for example, all of you know that there is. Can you not turn the light also on? I don't the lights over here. Some of them are not actually on. These whole range is on. So all of you know, by the way, that there are some people you would have met who are, they everything you tell them to improve, they take it as a personal attack. I'm going to say it again loud and clear. There are some people, no, not off, on. I'm so sorry for this confusion. So, there are some people you would actually, wow. 12 o'clock on 31st of 2025 December. Anyways, there are some people, by the way, who you try to correct them, you try to tell them, please don't do this, or I have a problem with this, or this behavior of yours is unacceptable. And you're telling them with a great premise, you're giving them the backstory, this is what I think, by the way, and then you're walking with the eggshells for people, but they completely ignored that, and they jump straight away to, but you should have said this. Come on. You went through the whole backstory. You took care of that, you tiptoeing around the conversation. Everything of that gets ignored, and only the point which you told them gets super magnified, and that comes as a personal assault, which was never intended to be like that. The question is, when these people, for the people like this, are a very, very good example that when emotions interfere with clear thinking mind, the mind knows what the truth is, who has done what, for example. The problem is emotions don't allow, I'm telling you, emotions, they don't allow the mind to communicate with, or the mental body to communicate with the brain. When you talk of emotional hygiene, you're saying, when all this junk goes out, emotions, they go, but they go very less maybe. The interference with this communication between mental body and the physical brain is very, very less. Mental body is called mano, my kosha, right? With the physical brain is very, very less. Almost minimal interference. Even though you would have also met people, even though they're humiliated at their face, they're like, okay, that part is my fault, I agree, and I will work on it. No, as they said, no need to get personal. There are people like this also. You can humiliate them in front of 10 people, they'll be like, yeah, that is my mistake, I'll take care of it. No effect, nothing, chill, cool, cold. Not cold because they're acting cold, but because nothing affects them. That is a good place to be in, don't you think? You can really handle things in a really, really calm manner. Good place to be. Emotional hygiene practiced, if not in this, but some other incarnation, thoroughly would lead a person to become something like this. They don't become robots, they just become people that don't get affected by these little things, right? Let's go to mental hygiene. There is crazy kind of stuff going on in the world these days, especially, for example, all the false information that people receive from news media channels, from Instagram, from Facebook, from whatever sources of information that you actually you get from. Books are written with fake information, by the way, as a propaganda, and they're publicized specifically because public opinion, for example, has to be gathered over a period of 10 years maybe. A lot of work is done on these lines, and a lot of other things also, your own inaccurate perceptions, your own problems, your this, your that, a lot of these things are actually happening throughout. The problem is, what do you do then? If all of these things are actually happening, what do? You basically undergo what is called the mental hygiene. Clean. Whatever doesn't suit my purpose, my goal, or whatever, if my budget can't validate, it is like no point believing in it. Let's park it aside to see if it validates, for example. Anyways, let's talk about hygiene. Imagine if all these bodies, the physical, the etheric, the emotional, the mental bodies, are cleansed and they're hygienic. Few things will happen. Even though you will enter into an argument, irrational discussion, you will mostly be centered, controlled, and calm. Mostly, I'm not saying all the time, but mostly. And mostly, there will be very less self-centeredness in a person who will be that cleansed or that hygienic. Eventually comes a point when you're really fighting for a principle and not really for anything that you can get out of it. Does it make sense? Emotional and mental issues which are in relation to hygiene in religions are called vices. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Maya, Ahankar are the five. I think Christianity is 7. They include jealousy and greed and a couple of other things also, right? But in short, what I'm telling you is these are essentially what you remove when you read Patanjali Yoga Sutras. The very first of them are Yama and Niyama, right? It has a lot to do with purification of the body, purification of your emotions, purification of your thoughts, hygiening. If you want to bring down spiritual energy into your system, you have to cleanse and purify. How many of you have temples in the house? Temple, small temple in the house. No, the remaining of you don't have. I don't have, so I'm okay. My point is, well, we recently moved, that's why we don't have. Anyways, I don't really go and do any of this, nor have I done, but my wife does. So she's a Gujarati, I'm a Sikh. I should do it actually, I just don't do it. Because I don't see the God there is the problem. I see a representative of what a great teacher who walked the earth can look like. But instead of doing this, if I read the story and draw inspiration and inculcate some qualities, that makes more sense to me actually. Anyways, that is also like a prayer. Meditating on somebody's qualities is like in Shaivism, they meditate on the image of Lord Shiva. They absorb qualities by hints. For example, Lord Shiva has a crescent moon.
Yes.
Yeah. What does it mean? Why will a Lord Shiva sit alone on the Mansarovar? Kailash? It makes no logical sense. It's unreachable. That place is not even reachable. How will they have Nandi well and then 20 other people and then Parvati will agree to go with him and she's not even cold? You know what I'm saying? It's unthinkable logically, right? There's got to be a better explanation. Right? When people who follow the Lord Shiva, they are taught to meditate on the picture of Shiva and Shakti. The reason when they are advised meditation is absorb the quality that you see, that the intuition tells you when you're meditating on the picture, what do these qualities actually mean? That's truly remarkable because if you think about it, you would realize that crescent moon shows periodicity, rhythm, life, rhythmic life, and this the intuition tells you. You get it during the meditation. It comes to you. You don't have to go ask around. All you have to do is meditate regularly. You know that Shiva also carries a trident, right? And then in trident there is this, what is it called? The Dabru, yeah. Why would a Shiva carry a Dabru? There's nobody to play the Dabru for in the high mountains of the Kailash. Even if it plays, nobody can hear after 2 meters anyways. There's no logical sense of carrying it up, bro. Do you see that? Unless there's a deeper meaning to it, which is what we are left to decipher when we look at the image. What is the meaning of him having a snake? There's no snake existing at that height. Impossible. I challenge if you can find a snake at that height. It's impossible to find. And the snake is comfortable sitting on his neck, by the way. And he's like all cool and he's meditating. It's almost impossible. Right? Unless and until there's a deeper meaning to that symbolism. Unless we start looking at that, we're missing the whole point. I'm not saying don't pray, I'm saying pray intelligently. There's a meaning behind things. Eventually, when you meditate, you will realize you are the God. There is a Shiva right within. And that has to manifest. That is the purpose of any incarnation. To manifest the God inside of you. Same with Vaishnavites, same with, there's no Brahmites, no? Sorry. Anyways, but you get the point, right? Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, three aspects of God, right? We drifted so much, oh my God. Let's get back. So, let's go to the hygiene concept. When you have hygiene at all possible levels of human being, and as a temple, you clean the temple of your house temple properly, right? You clean the statue properly, you clean the temple properly. That's when you pray. And most of you pray after you've taken a bath. God won't mind if you go take a prayer before taking a bath. God has no problem with you, right? God doesn't love you any lesser. I mean, see, these are very logical points. God will love you exactly as much even if you don't take a bath for 10 days. So why?
It's more of emotional when you have a bath. So you feel that you have cleaned yourself. And when you are getting into a zone which is to you, it's very sacred, very private, and you would like to get inside that in a cleaned manner.
That is very good point. When you want to get into a zone, he says, which is private, which is very sacred, you want to be as clean as possible. Perfect point. The bigger question is, does God care? Does God really care?
Might be because God is a perspective that you have created.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right?
So the do's and don'ts are created by you.
Social regulations, perfect. Thank you, sir. Brilliant point. Social regulations. Are we clear on this, right? Let's take it one step forward now. The taking bath, cleaning the whole place and stuff is a symbolism of something which should happen within your system before the divine energy comes inside your system. What happens is when you take a bath, when you clean everything, then you pray, specific energy comes. And it comes with much lesser resistance if there's cleanliness. Much less resistance. Physical cleanliness matters lesser compared to emotional and mental cleanliness when it comes to prayer. Which is why prayers sometimes don't work well when you're afraid, when you have less faith. I'm not even saying have blind faith. I'm saying pray and you know it will work. Doubt will weaken the power of prayer like anything. Doubt is in the mental faculty of the mental vehicle. And that will so doubt is something which comes between you and a higher source which is giving you the energy. Which will sit right there and say, "Main to nahi jane de raha, kya karoge?" Doubt is exactly like that. It is said that I'm not saying in the preaching Christian format, but it's said that the doubt is one of the biggest vices that you will have to overcome by total pure experience. And you don't doubt mathematics, right? You see it working like left, right, center, every part of your life, right? But the fact is, things that you can't tangibly see is really a thing which the doubt will take one real experience to go. For that, you have to actually meditate on a longer practice or a longer run. Coming back. So, emotional and mental cleansing and hygiene is very, very important before you pray or before you meditate. Because they become the primary roadblocks before even the energy can come inside of your system. So taking the physical bath as symbolism for cleansing the temple where the God is about to come. When you meditate, the chakras start to open up. The energy which we call the God, because we don't know anything else after this, that's why we call it the God, generic word. We call it divine energy, by the way, over here. When it starts to come inside of the crown chakra, it descends to all the chakras down in a systematic, sequential manner. And if you don't practice purification, inner purification of thoughts and emotions, you don't practice the emotional and mental hygiene, the energy just comes and like washes off. You feel a little better, of course, because something has come, but it's not even like 2% of the advantage which you can take when the chakras are really, really clean. Your aura is really clean. Your thought rooms is very, very clean. Right? For taking the maximum advantage, please do not go to meditation when you've fought, when you have had a rough day. Spend 10 minutes cleaning yourself properly, removing everything out, and then meditate. Impact would be really powerful. When you become pro at meditation, which will happen after maybe a few years, then you can get into meditation at any mood, because then, by the way, the meditation has gotten so far that you have gained the ability to purify along when you're meditating. Like there are some times when I use the meditation energy itself to clean in 2 minutes and then visit for meditation. Sometimes, right? To save time also, I do this at times. Let's give an example from engineering point of view. How many study engineering over here? Or are studying engineering or want to study? There's only one kid, by the way, here. Anyways, so you know that none of you study engineering except him. 2, 3, 4. That's it. Finance. Wow. Marketing. MBAs. Okay. Diverse background actually. I don't even know other backgrounds. Anyway, so the thing is this. You know what are insulators? Insulators are specific materials which prevent the heat to flow between point A and point B, right? Insulator. It does its work very, very well because there is no medium for the heat to flow. It requires a solid medium, by the way. It could also be gaseous, but requires some medium to flow. Vacuum can't flow. That's why there's a vacuum flask. No medium to flow. Likewise, in thermal, like when there is a satellite which is coming down from, like when it's picking down the astronauts, it requires very, very strong insulations of extremely lightweight materials which can handle extremely high temperatures, still keep the astronauts safe. Remarkable qualities in insulations actually. Those are very hybrid materials, very advanced materials actually. The thing is, we're talking about insulation as a concept because insulation at mental level looks like the output I told you and pride are two very powerful insulations which prevent the divine energy which should come through the crown doesn't even come inside. Pride, the way it looks like is, I know, don't teach me. Probably. But many times, no. Many times pride looks like, okay, tell me, I'll see, what do you know? Sometimes pride looks like, the inability to listen to other people. There are many, many kinds of pride. Emotional pride, mental pride, spiritual pride. So you basically don't receive energy at multiple levels as long as pride exists inside of your system. The doubt and pride are two of the primary let's say insulators for spiritual energy to flow inside. Let's say you work on them. Very, very good, by the way. Let's go to the next one. Emotional body, there are many. Anger. How many of you can relate to what I'm saying? Serious problems of anger. Uncontrollable anger. Don't be shameless over here. In raising the hands, please be shameless. How many of you suppress anger? Because it's socially not good to display anger. Relatable? Suppression of anger? And we are taught to suppress anger, by the way. Don't say this in front of him, no matter how much angry you get. It's bullshit. I'm sorry. It's not good. I'm serious. It is going to wreck your entire body. Don't suppress anger. If you suppress anger, 5, 6, 7 days after, it'll blow up like anything. For completely prevalent pretenses. No reasons actually. If you even suppress over there, let's talk about suppression a little bit more. How many of you have been taught in the past that thinking about sex is bad? At least you know this, that you should not do it. Every one of you had a positive point of view. Huh? No, I'm sure, even if you're not anything else, I know what I'm saying, okay? My point is, if you think about this for a short while, you will realize that the society has suppressed sex completely. In a way that the teachers, the preachers, the priests, your so-called people that you look up to say, don't waste your time thinking about sex, do this, blah, blah. The problem is, it's biological. You can't freaking suppress anything. Suppression का मतलब पता है क्या है? In your own house, you're collecting garbage, but you're putting it on the carpet. How much can you do it? It's impossible after a while. It's not going anywhere. It's inside of your system. One day it will come. And if supposedly you get into a work which requires a lot of creativity, you have no time to do all this. But the problem is, for the past 20 years, you've been doing it. And it hasn't gone anywhere. It's right sitting over here until the right trigger comes. These are like time bombs, by the way. They don't go anywhere. Unless you actually function on releasing it, they don't go anywhere. One of the ways I think I like Osho's, one of the talk which I heard a while back, and I happen to recollect it now. He mentioned that suppose there are people who've gotten old, but they still feel like, you know what, all of that, and I feel really like, they have sex in their mind, and they look at the women, let's say, or men if they're old women, like with lustful eyes. He said one of the ways is, give yourself 3 to 4 months. He says you have to relive all your lusts, all your fantasies, take them to completion. Don't start and say, no, I shouldn't be doing it. But then this didn't go anywhere. You generated a strong energy which didn't go anywhere, which was staying inside of your system, corrupting your system, your thought process, your bodies, your emotional mental hygiene, corrupting it. It will show up at the right time for sure. Likewise, suppressed anger also. I'm going to tell you a technique which Osho said. I've practiced it for almost since 2017 or 18 actually. And I use this on an extremely regular basis. I'm very confident of what I'm now telling you. Be careful though, huh? This is the technique which I'm going to tell you the downsides also if you don't properly do it. The technique goes something like this. If you've had suppressed desires, suppressed fancies, suppressed anger, suppressed whatever, you have to find 1 hour a day, regularly every day, for say a few weeks to a few months, depending on how much content is there. And then you start to visualize or bring the whole thing back. Relive it in your mind completely for an hour. No phone, nothing. Allow it to completely surface and you be the watcher. No engaging. This is the most important bit. No engaging with it. You watch what the mind is doing. Watch it take its fancy shapes. Watch it beat up that person to pulp. Whatever it does, let it do. It has to do. The energy has to go somewhere. Whatever it takes. But let the energy completely express. It will leave your system like a smoke leaves an opening. Completely. It will exit your system once and for all. And after a few weeks to a few months, you will realize there's nothing. You become absolutely cool and calm. The day you become pro, you can do a really solid amount of energy release in a single session. The day you become more advanced, when the chakra can handle that amount of energy also. Chakra is like a machine, by the way. You should be able to handle tremendous amount of energy to be able to do magic or something which is abnormally powerful. Anyway, so keeping that in mind, it's a very interesting thing. There are other techniques which are non-destructive, which don't take an hour. There are techniques in which you still need to relive, but for 5 minutes. Bring it out for 5 minutes, and then you have advanced techniques to remove it out. There are techniques taught in Hatha Yoga, which take about maybe next 2 to 3 minutes. They really help you in removal of these vices, by the way. Vices, the character vices, which are responsible for unhygienic emotions and the thoughts. They get removed with advanced techniques in a very short time. Those techniques I'm not allowed to discuss in open session, but there are really advanced, powerful techniques which can do really solid work on you as you continue to practice. Let's talk a little bit more about Shiva, Vishnu and the Brahma. We've been on the topic for a while back, right? It's energy of Shiva that you use when you're using to suppress the will energy. When you're young, it's a lot. You have a lot of will. You can suppress quite a bit, by the way. When you become a little bit more older, the energy of will starts to decline. That is why suppression doesn't work after a while. Which is why when the will starts to become less, the midlife crisis hits. Emotions can't be properly managed now. Things are seeming to go out of order and you can't, and everything is becoming so overwhelming because there's a lot of stuff packed inside. Clarity is not there. This is exactly the thing. A mental body or the soul, after a while, to communicate with the brain, the layers have to be cleansed properly. Clean. Clear? Sometimes you can also do, by the way, by an Om chanting. You can chant Om a few times, or Om Mani Padme Hum, or Om Namah Shivaya, or whatever you want to chant, up to you. That can also clean or make the body hygienic, making it more susceptible for higher influence to come inside. Seamlessly, without any resistance, actually. Shiva, or the way of the Shiva, or the energy of the will, is to cleanse and purify the whole system via the will. So, like you used to suppress, now you use it to remove also. Will is a very powerful energy to remove, actually. And the best part about advanced techniques is you use the will of the higher beings, not your own. You don't probably have enough willpower to remove all the stuff, so you use the will of the higher beings. You bring it down, remove stuff out from your system. That's a really powerful way, by the way. The way of Vishnu or the Vaishnavites is they inculcate so much love within their system that all the character-wise, they don't find a place. They exit the chakras purely based upon the power of love. That's a very powerful way also, by the way. Works like a charm. A simple technique to those of you who know, or arthatic practitioners or pranic healers, the blue triangle technique is a technique of the will. Meditating or chanting on love, like the Twin Hearts meditation, is a technique of love. To cleanse, to emotionally, mentally, and ethically, physically hygiene the whole system. Next level, Brahma, the intelligence aspect. Is it possible to purify using intelligence aspect? Possible? Or not? It is. Vedanta or Vedantins, the one who follow that side, they work purely based upon Gnana Yoga, the yoga of intellect. Their primary purpose, by the way, is to secure the most appropriate understanding that they have of God and only follow that. Whatever doesn't, like I am the soul, I am not the body, not the emotions, not the thought, not the mind. I am only. So whatever comes in between this, they don't pay attention to it. It is yoga of pure intelligence. Which means they have to identify what is not I, eliminate. What is not I, eliminate. Why am I leading over here? I should not be doing it. Let's try something else. Yoga of awareness and intelligence. When you mix everything properly, then you become something, a person who is very aware, willful, and kind at the same time. Because the person has worked on himself or herself sufficiently, can the person impart the same light to other people? Now, tying to it, we go to Aquarius full moon, Aaj ka full moon. Aquarius full moon, how many of you know today's Aquarius full moon, by the way? I'm sure some of you know, right? Yeah. Aquarius is the full moon of what is called the world savior. This is a little advanced topic, but I'll anyways try and do justice to it. To those of you who can get the whole gist, it's good. Soul, in its process of evolution, undergoes all the 12 zodiacs multiple times. Multiple times. Soul, not you, the incarnate being, but the soul. I'm so sorry, just give me a second. This is important. 2-3 more minutes, okay? Then they will start the meditation. Very, very important. Soul undergoes the soul. In its process of development, goes through multiple zodiacs, and it has nothing to do with you incarnating under whichever zodiac. It has nothing to do with it. That is a different science altogether. So once you undergo specific kinds of zodiacal energies pass through you, you're supposed to be learning different lessons actually. Different lessons at different point in time. Which by the way also means that in Aquarius, the kind of lesson a very advanced soul would learn would be the lesson to become a world savior. Extension of that understanding is this. In the labor of Hercules, which is a story of how the soul undergoes evolution, in the labor of Hercules, Hercules, symbolic stories, huh? No, like nothing is a real thing, but a symbolic story. Hercules is supposed to clean stables, horse stables, in one day of the whole city. Single day. And the king challenges him, by the way. Symbolical story says Hercules, by the time, has lit his own lamp. He's become what is called the lighted lamp by that time. He has attained enlightenment and illumination of his own already. Now he is supposed to work for everybody else. This is the meaning of the word savior. Saving का मतलब ये नहीं कि protecting people from financial ruin. No. It means making them awake and alive, lighting their lamps. Only a person who's truly a lighted lamp can light anybody else's lamp, right? Otherwise, it's not possible. Right? If you don't understand a concept, you can't explain it to anybody else. It makes no real sense. So, he is, by the way, in the past 10 zodiacs, he's become a fully enlightened person. Now comes the time of saving other people or pulling them up also. Right? And it is said 49 are the ones that he saved. Very interesting, 49. Not one more, not one less, 49. To those of you who know, have already probably made a guess by 49, right? Interestingly, he checks around the whole city and he finds 2 rivers are flowing, just naturally flowing. He diverts their flow, and actually with those 2 diversions, he cleanses the whole stable. Stable, or that very dirty stable, resembles a muck on human beings that are running throughout the world. Those 2 rivers are basically light and life, are 2 completely separate things which come from 2 sources above you. One is the higher soul, one is the divine spark. Different forms of energy of God actually. In short, God is a very generic word I'm using, but I know in my mind I'm saying 2 very specific energies. When you direct them, you basically, with teaching of course, in real life, you clean the muck of the human race. The great teachers, whenever they incarnate, whichever great teacher you take, their primary skill will not be doing magic for you. Their primary skill will be the potency of the teaching that they offer. Lord Buddha has been known to not even do one trick in his whole life. Not even one magic is shown. He was 90 something years old, 86, 96 years old. And he was the greatest of all time, the GOAD, in reality by the way. Not even one magic is shown. Other teachers have shown. He didn't even show one. And every great teacher that I know looks up to great Lord Buddha. The most senior, by the way, of all the ones that have walked the earth, by the way, up until now. Not even one. The potency of his teaching is so simple, it can be summed up in 4 paragraphs. So 4 one-liners. There is suffering in life. You can't do anything about it. Suffering is caused, by the way, by attachment, or the reason of suffering is attachment. So whenever you're suffering, please find why or what are you attached to. Third, the suffering can end. Fourth, the suffering ends by the following of the Eightfold Noble Path. Very simple stuff. So powerful, so exquisite, it sustained throughout 2500 years since he actually came. Extremely powerful teaching actually. The more advanced the teacher, the more simple the teachings, the more potent the teachings, and hence more advanced the teaching also. You start thinking of the word attachment for a short while, you will realize it's mind-bending. Attachment. This is a good exercise, by the way. When you go back home today, try thinking of the word attachment. Not just to objects, to people, but most importantly to the way you want to see things. Your point of view. Being superior because you're too attached to it compared to other person's point of view. This is some of the, people who are literally detached have actually no point of view. This is the truth. But to come to that stage requires a lot of suffering. You can reduce the suffering down to a great degree by saying, okay, let me practice detachment from my point of view. Let's see where it goes. That is not easy, but it has to be done. If you truly want to make solid progress in this life, in the path of meditation, and I use a very big word, a little bit while enlightenment, this is the most fundamental step that you have to overcome is non-attachment to your point of view. No point of view. Which is why when you reach the goal, there all paths seem one. There was no path. It becomes a pathless path. I'm not attached to my path anymore. I've reached the goal. Simple. Finish. Make sense? Some sense. Anyway. So let's do the eye exercises.